Welcome to the lesson on drip scheduling. Drip schedules are pretty cool if you, much like I do, like to create course material on a set pace while students are attending a course. If you're running through one of the updated periods in this course or the very first iteration of this course, you're in the middle of a drip schedule. Drip schedules are fantastic for controlling the amount of content that we provide our learners, our students, in a set period of time. So to simplify that statement a little bit, you can release a certain amount of lessons to them on a certain date. And at a later date, release more lessons to them. So you can use this as a way to kind of trickle feed or drip the content to your students over a set period of time. So you may decide to release several lessons in the first week of a course, and then the next series of lessons the following week, and maybe a third series of lessons the week after that. And you can carry this out as long as you like until the student finishes the course and completes the curriculum on the set schedule that you created. So pretty powerful stuff if you run coaching programs or want to test the waters on selling a course before you fully develop it, or if you are providing training to people while updating significant sections of a course. So let's look at an example here in the course tutorial. You've got the curriculum, the bulk importer, settings, and right next to settings is drip. So let's go to the drip. Let's click on that. And if you've never set up a drip schedule for that particular course, you're going to get this screen and it's going to say, hey, look, you get to specify when your content's available to your students. That's cool. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Why don't you create your drip schedule? So you click on create a drip schedule and it brings you to a kind of a truncated version of your curriculum outline, right? These short clips of the drip outline, and if you click on drip type, it'll take you straight to the drip type. If you click on, let's say, new chapter, it'll bring you down to the bottom. So this provides you a kind of a quick mapping within this scrollable window here for the drip schedule. Excuse me. Okay, so starting at the top, we can choose when we want to release content to the students. You can start your drip schedule from the enrollment date that the student has. So let's say you want to create this controlled feed of curriculum to any student who enrolls in your course at any time, right? So you've got the whole course built, it's in the system, and you intentionally want to release the content on a certain routine basis. Could be every 3 days, could be every week, could be every day, whatever. And so you can set this from the date that student enrolls, they start getting content dripped to them. The system will automatically do that for you by selecting this first option. The second option is when the student actually starts the course. So the first option was based on an enrollment, right? They enroll in the course, it automatically starts their clock. The second is when they log in and access the course for the first time. So I could enroll in a course and not access that course for a period of time. That drip content will not start feeding until I've actually accessed the course if I choose the second option. And then the third one is on a specific date. So if you are going to do a beta test or a controlled release for a cohort, maybe like a set group of students, you can choose, and you want those students to go through the program together from a certain date to another date, you can choose on a specific date, and that will baseline everything. So let's go ahead and say, okay. And now let's choose the date we want to do that, right? So we want to choose, let's say, October 2nd, fine. So what it does is it'll baseline all the course material on that date. As I scroll through the lessons, I can see each of these lessons has been baselined to October 2nd is the earliest content will be released. So let's go through and change that. Let's say we want to release some of these lessons on October 2nd. Let's just say we're going to release the first 3. So we'll release this first lesson here, hello, then the course information and welcome, and then the intro to maintenance task analysis. We'll just release those 3 lessons on October 2nd, but we want to change the date here on the next lesson. So we just click on the date window there. And let's just say we want to release it the following week. So the first batch of content was dripped on the 2nd. Let's go a week later, Sunday the 9th. Let's click on that guy. Now, you can see here this updated. Now it says 7 days after the release, this lesson will be dripped to the students. So let's do the next 2. So we're going to release 3 lessons every week, right? So the first 3 lessons are all October 2nd. The next 3 lessons are October 9th. Let's do these. So this will be the 16th, the 16th, and the 16th. And then we're going to release these on the 23rd, October 23rd. Okay, so you can see that this is fairly easy to do. These will go on the 30th. And I picked a good number here. Number 3 worked out for me tonight. Okay, so those lessons are now all set to release. And the last drip will happen 28 days after the release schedule is initiated on the 2nd. So I can see how long it will take for my students to gain access to this information. Now let's just think about the end of the course, right? If I've released this information to them 28 days after we start, I need to give them time to digest it. So I don't want to end the course on that date. We're going to drip it to them on the 30th, but let's say I have a whole week worth of time for them to immerse themselves in the material and then meet for a live Q&A or to check up on them for finalizing their experience in the cohort or whatever the case may be. I want to set that for a week after this date, right? So if you're doing a coaching program or if you're just doing some live components to your course, be cognizant of the fact that if you release the content, you have to give them time to digest it before you can meet with them and kind of beat them up about it or test their knowledge or have a Q&A session that's meaningful. You have to give them time to digest that information. So, okay. So we've created the drip schedule. We did it on a specific date. Now we're going to hit save. We do that. I got my little notification here. It says, well, you've successfully saved your drip schedule. And that's awesome. It's that easy, right? So what if I come in here and I want to alter something? So if I want to alter this date, I can alter this date. That's perfectly fine. What most people don't think about is once my drip schedule is created and I go create new content, it's going to auto-populate the date of that new content. So let's go to curriculum. Let's go down to the last new chapter here. And let's just create a random, we're going to call it that too, random lesson for dripping. Now, I created this. I'm not drafting. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Let's just type some gobbledygook in there. Hit save. Now, this gets dropped into my course, and my course is on a drip schedule. So where did it fall in the schedule? So go to drip, go down to that lesson, and look, it's automatically released. Okay, today. So if you load new content in after you set the drip schedule, be aware of the fact that it's going to be released immediately to the student unless you come in here and you alter this drip date. So being that this chapter is at the end of the course, I would want to come in here and drip it with the rest of the last course content or set it for, a week after that or whenever. But you have to come in here and manually do that. If you add content to the end of the course or the middle of the course or the front of the course, wherever, as soon as you add new curriculum and you already have a drip schedule initiated, you have to come in here and make sure you set the date that content is dripped, especially if it's not in the current batch of dripped content. Okay, that is it for drip content. You can see this is very powerful for controlling the pace at which you bleed or drip content to your learners. I think it's a really cool feature here in Thinkific. And I find it very helpful as a student in coaching programs or other type of learning programs where I don't want to be distracted, or the instructor doesn't want me to be distracted, or, by the amount of curriculum or other curriculum in the course, or if they're releasing this in a very controlled pace and fashion, so they can keep me focused on a very particular set of lessons during that period of time. All right, that's it for drip content. See you in the next lesson.